What is up, guys? Boat Game Nature Boy here. Today we have some footage of the Fubuki. Now, this is what I was running when we had our Atlanta campaign. I had a lot of success with this. This is a very, very nasty ship in the right hands. A lot of torps, 10-click torp range, it cannot be beaten. Well, except maybe by the Tier 7 Japanese cruiser with its 11-click torps. But as far as the reload, maneuverability, especially concealment, it's a very, very good ship. If you haven't barked up the Japanese DD line, I would highly recommend it. I really enjoy this ship. So as you can see here, folks, we're going to go ahead and move on this particular cap point. We are in Neighbors, by the way. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like this map, and some people say it's even ship dependent, but I haven't particularly had any necessarily bad luck on it. Either way. So we're pushing up here. We've got a few guys to our 12 o'clock. As you can see there, they're not within torp range, at least not yet anyway. Now, normally what you're going to have, guys, is you're going to have 3 different spawn points per side and 3 ships in each spawn point, and the opposite side is going to mirror that. So what that means is on our particular end here, we have no DDs. So we're kind of lucky. Now, granted, that means they're either going to be in the mid or on the far end, and that is fine by us, because the DDs are realistically, unless you really fumble, the only thing that can just kind of ruin your day. If you get spotted out there, if you get detected, and the bad guys don't have anything else to shoot at, it's definitely going to be you. Or they don't, have perhaps good shots at other, bigger, more important ships, battleships, cruisers, what have you. You may be the priority target, which is not a good look for you at all. Now, what we're going to do here is kind of push up behind this little island here, see if we can't torp him around the corner. That's kind of the plan. And guys, I keep mentioning this, but I feel like it can't be mentioned enough. Going out here and throwing torps isn't enough to ensure they hit. You want to convince the battleship driver, cruiser driver, what have you, that nothing was ever amiss to begin with. Now, you kind of have 2 different schools of thought here. One, what we're doing is we are torping him at such a range, there is literally no way he can get all that steel stopped before he runs into the torps, which is exactly going to be the case here, Super Bowl rings. And the other side of that is that if you torp somebody, you don't want to be detected, you don't want to take any shots, you don't want them to have any idea that there's even a DD over here. And in the long run, I feel like that's probably the best one. Because granted, of course, sure, we took that gentleman for all his health, but it could have easily went the other way. Now, granted, we just happened to be loaded, and, there were a lot of variables in there, and we may even get some damage off of this gentleman. But, for the most part, you want to torp some people without their knowledge, just simply because they won't alter their course, they won't change course, everything will be the same, so on and so forth. Now, speaking to this gentleman right here, we're going to go ahead and throw a nice little spread. We've got 3 different torp launchers, 3 torps each, 9 fish. This ship is very, very fun to play. It's really a blast. Speaking of a blast, this gentleman is not a good look for him at all. He is taking fish left, right, and center. Yeah, so we're going to end up full healthing both of these gentlemen within 120 seconds or something. It's not good on their part. 90k already. So we're out here, we're making it happen, but at the same time, that first one could have really went south. So we kind of have to keep our head on a swivel. We don't necessarily want to get in a position like that to where it all comes down to RNG, if you catch my drift, you know, because if he'd have hit us dead center, and you know he'd have had nothing but high X loaded, and you know dispersion would have been good, it would have been the end for us. And it happens, you know. All we can do is learn from our mistakes, folks, and that's kind of what I'm trying to help everybody out here with. You know, you just have to play very, very safe, and it was kind of foolish of me to put myself in that position right off the jump. So hopefully we can learn from that, we can move on. You guys can learn from my mistakes, and who knows, maybe even I'll learn from my mistakes, but anything is possible. Okay, so we're moving on here. We're essentially on the prowl for new targets. Detected by a plane, not crazy about that. We have a gentleman around the island here about 12 o'clock. He's putting little rounds on me. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't possibly pull up, throw some fish here, point blankish range. Not necessarily sure he will catch them, but we're going to throw such a thick blanket of fish, he may not have an option. Really missing the quick repair on the Japanese line. It would be very, very nice if they would eventually get a commander with quick repair. Things do not look good for this gentleman, just between us chickens. It's not a good look for him. He's taken a couple of fish there. We really didn't end up laying as much as we thought we would, but that's fine. We sent a couple into him right there. We're up to 120k already. And, you know, long story short, we don't end up hitting the 150 that we needed in the Atlanta campaign. Now, sure, we've hit 150 before, no problem, but we don't manage to get it for the Atlanta campaign, which, you know, figures. That's par for the course. You know, it's just not a thing. Now, we are laying some smoke here to see maybe if we can't, you know, possibly run the guns on this gentleman. But at the same time, we have to be very, very cautious. We're low health. He kind of beat us up a little bit there, so we kind of have to be cautious. And, you know, you never know when you're going to rub somebody the wrong way, pun intended, and they're just going to rush your smoke. I've seen it happen. It happens almost on a daily basis. With me, anyway. So just something to think about. You have to be very, very cautious. We're going to peek our head out here. We don't have anybody around to light this gentleman up. That was kind of my hopes, that, you know, somebody would light him up. We'd know where he is. We could maybe torp him. You know, even run the guns. You know, put a little work in on him. But, you know, they do not have him lit up anywhere. So, you know, it is what it is. At any rate, moving on, we're going to go ahead and continue on here. See if we can, you know, get out here and stack a little bit more damage. We do have a, you know, severely wounded fella right here. I think this is probably the one we tangoed with earlier, although I'm not really sure. We are detected. We're trying to close that distance. We're going to go ahead and cut behind this island here before he gets a decent firing solution on us. And he is definitely looking this way. And a lot of times what you'll see, guys, is me kind of just peek out, fire, and then pull back in. Which is a very, very, very valid tactic. And if you are going to do that, I would highly recommend the engine modification, where it increases your engine by 50%, your acceleration by 50%. Subscriber Jarhead brought that to my attention. It is amazing. I highly recommend you give that a try. As well as another subscriber recommended the gun lock. Preset 3 Badger recommended the gun lock. He got off another channel. Either way, he brought it here. We used it. It's amazing. This is slightly older footage, obviously, because we already have the Atlanta. This is before the gun lock, but it will literally change your life. Preset 3. Just a little informative little section there. But anyway, moving on. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't go grab this other cap here. You know, these caps, they turn over so quickly sometimes. There's not really much you can do about it. I still have an enemy DD out there, so we really kind of have to keep our head on a swivel. We don't want to get caught up because in a shooting match, if he has any modicum of health, he will certainly take us apart. Not really seeing a whole lot of action around here, and that's kind of fine by us because we would much rather want to see them before they see us. And that's, the downside in, this late in the game. You can come around a corner here of an island and there'll be somebody sitting there that, and the cruisers, some of the cruisers are very fast. They can almost, disappear on one side of the map and reappear on another, especially if you have a lot of islands. So that's kind of why I'm saying you have to be cautious even when you think everything is fine, because in the heat of battle sometimes you lose track of where everybody is, and if that wasn't a target you were tracking originally, you'll have no idea where he's at. So it just goes to show that you really have to be cautious at all times, especially in a DD. You can't necessarily depend on your high concealment to kind of hold you down all the time, because these islands are great if you have short range torps and you know where the bad guy is, but also if you bend a corner on an island and it's late game and there's a cruiser about, you run into a Pepsi Cola when you're third health, it is a wrap. He will poop in your mouth. So it looks like we're going to end the game here with 120,000 damage. I'm perfectly fine with that. A hefty amount of damage there. A tier 5 Fubuki, Japanese DD. We reached a new milestone there on the Atlanta, and this kind of shows you how long ago this video was, since we're at level 22 there. 289,000 silver coins, dinero, what have you. Guys, really hope you enjoy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification button. Check back for new videos Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, and stop by the stream Monday through Friday 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. See you guys next time.